6 years old, a little too used to being alone. Another new mom and dad, another school, another house that'll never be home. When people ask him how he likes this place, he looks up and says with a smile upon his face, "This is my temporary home. It's not where I belong. Windows and rooms that I'm passing through. This is just a stop on the way to where I'm going. I'm not afraid because I know this is my temporary home."
Yeah, I'm Ashley Metzler. I'm the foster care manager for Cincinnati and Dayton. So that's for the foster care and adoption services. I have worked for St. Joe's for a little over 5 years. The agency is 189 years old. The Sisters of Charity came to Cincinnati and formed the first orphanage. And then in 1852, St. Joe's was established. And it was 100 boys and girls. And we moved to this location in 1962. And then foster care and some of our other mental health services were started in 1990 when St. Joe's became a certified mental health provider.
I have worked here since August of 2016. I actually started interning here during my senior year of college at UC. And after that, they hired me on to be a case manager. So what my job is to set up services with all the kids in our foster care agency. I will coordinate school services, behavioral services, any therapy services that they may need. I'm also a liaison between the county and the foster parents and just any communication that's necessary.
A lot of the older teens, they may have been in the system for several years, and that oversight isn't always a positive thing. And so, like the Bridges program that's now offered is hopefully breaking down some of those barriers that youth might have, but we're still trying to get the word out and expanding knowledge about that program. But a lot of youth that are getting ready to age out don't want to have that level of oversight. But at the same time, that's where those resources are for them. So that's a huge barrier, is getting them into that mindset that these services are available for you and extremely beneficial, but you still have the freedom to choose where you want to live and, you know, whether you're working or going to school and things like that.
Acceptance, probably, and finding somewhere that they feel loved and wanted regardless of being in foster care. A lot of our kids get bounced around from home to home, and it's not anything that one agency can fix because you just can't. You just have to love them while they're in that placement until they move on, but that's the biggest barrier, is just having a kid feel stable while they're in that home. I do for a couple. I have 2 to 3 on my caseload who are kind of starting to have that conversation. One girl I had last year, she was really excited about graduating. Her grades were good, and she was going to get into a community college to do, I think, cosmetology. And she ended up moving to a different foster home, so I lost connection with her. But while she was here, I was setting her up with the county because they take all those avenues for school. So like A HEMI mentor is a higher education mentor initiative, I think is what it is. So she was set up with one of those that helps her get enrolled with college, get support through that nature. But yeah, her and I had a lot of conversations about like, what do you want for your future? Do you want to live on your own? Do you not want to live on your own? Do you want to live in an independent living setting? And then one of my 17-year-olds were just going through that same process. Like, where are you looking for school? Have you started thinking about those things? And she's pretty ambitious, so I know that she's going to want to. It's just connecting her with the right resources.
I see it supporting the families and being able to give them the tools that they need. We have different things in place, but there's not really, like, I love the word roadmap because there's not really a clear path for a lot of the families. There's different resources from different entities in the community, but they're not really all kind of linked together. And it's hard to navigate.
Yeah, having something visual that they can look at on their own time and not just when they're in meetings with their county workers or myself. So they can sit down after school, after work, whatever, in their alone time and go, okay, what really are my options? What is it something that I really want to do? Because there's a difference between me sitting in a meeting with her for an hour and going, okay, this is what you can do. Like, do you know what you want to do? And having her debrief by herself, just kind of in an alone setting, figuring out what her best options are. So yeah, I think that would be huge. Really.
It was very interesting how engaged these kids were. They were highly motivated. They have some definite goals, but didn't necessarily know how to get there. And so they really were absorbing the information and stayed with me while I went through the booklet for about 20, 30 minutes, which is amazing, and asked some very good questions afterward. It's more about what are you going to do with your life? And get them out of this idea of I'm going to just live for today, or I'm going to just live for tomorrow, or I'm going to live for this week. I have some intermediate goals. I have some long-term goals. This first section is called Steps Toward College. Now, this is specific to the university, but it can also apply to community college. It might even apply to vocational college, because there may be tips in here to talk about, hey, let's go tour a campus and go talk to some teachers or talk to some students at a welding school or cooking class or beauty school, whatever. Thinking down the road for a particular child, even though they are in high school and they're kind of interested in doing something, I just kind of like, well, you know, the system will take care of them. Well, it doesn't. The system does not. So we as foster parents have to kind of take the initiative and encourage the kids to start thinking, you know, more than just next week. There's a section on traditional universities here in Ohio and North Kentucky. This is certainly not the entire list. Section on finances. So this is student loans, grants, scholarships. Vocational and trade schools. Again, this is not a complete list. This is just a sampling of the different kinds of vocational and trade schools here in Cincinnati area. The idea of apprenticeships. There's a huge demand for skilled workers, and a lot of the construction industry in particular is just screaming for carpenters, for plumbers, for electricians. And this is to get in as an apprenticeship, you are being paid to learn the trade. And so that's an excellent option for many of our kids. And then this last section, transition programs for foster youth. I suspect most of you already know about the Bridges program. As kids start approaching age out, the age out period, then they have the Bridges program that kind of helps them transition into the next stage of their life.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know.